So this could very well be one of the most important videos you see in your life. Okay, see on the top it says, none of these still images look like me. All have been covertly edited and some look like Jews for pathetic social orders, right? So white Jew and LGBT supremacy. Okay, so here, this one was slowed down. Look at my face carefully. And we go down here, look at how they edit this one. So sometimes they do it dramatically, but look at how it's like the steak puff marshmallow man, Jack in the Box or something like that. Now look at how thin my face is here. There was times when it was thinner, but I didn't quite look like that. That looks like some kind of liberal Jew, gayish kind of guy. That's not my spirit, so on and so forth. And neither is that. Looks like some kind of crazed lunatic, right? Okay, so people look like that. You know, I've never come across anyone who looked like that said it like that. It just doesn't happen. Now this is where it gets very interesting. Okay, these are the images of Pan. Remember, the word therapist is the rapist scrambled. Psyche, who resembles her often, and especially her, okay, is a deity that falls in love with Cupid. Okay, and Cupid is said to be, by an oracle, really a dragon, a winged dragon, right? The ancient serpent, the devil, they call it a genius, right? A winged serpent, okay? I kid you not, it's called a genius. Look it up. Now, here's Pan, and he's tricking her. How do we know he's tricking her? Well, look at this one, okay? He's chasing this guy, and of course, I used paint to erase the breasts, okay? They were kind of small, and I erased his penis, and they depicted it kind of large, you know, as far as that goes, you know, the biggest in the world, but rather large. Let's look at this one. This is a sort of gender-neutral figure here, and look at his face carefully. This is actually a common face. We see it with English people. We see it with some Jews. Now think carefully, right? It's usually a spectrum of this face. In fact, we'll get to that later with Queen Elizabeth, right? You see how her face right there, 3, 2, 1, is similar to his. We'll get to that. Here is a more controversial issue of him fucking a goat, right? Riding the goat in Freemasonry actually does have something to do with this, because Freemasonry is very much about social control, which defaults with sexual control. Psychosocial, psychosexual, if you will. Here we have Pan putting a phallic symbol, his flute, okay, because he's an LGBT deity, almost first and foremost. In between his legs, you notice the hooves and so on and so forth. You know, he's a deity where the horns over here is associated with goats and so on and so forth, and fertility and rituals and so on and so forth. Just like Dionysus is ritual madness, but he's really described that way, but obviously it is. We'll get to that. So here we have a guy who looks like Frodo Baggins or something, with Psyche looking chick. I erased her butt so I wouldn't be breaking the rules here. And it says Pan means, I wrote that myself, all for all the Greco-Roman deities, and his name backwards is Nap. Okay, we'll get to that. He is obviously a rape cult deity that is alive and well, and a foundational deity of modern Western culture. He especially rapes Psyche, which is where we get the word psychology. The other day on CNN, I overheard them talking about how Zeus has a famous history of sexual assault, okay? Now, Pan is also a rape cult deity, Serapis, where they get the image of Jesus, one of the places. It's really a family line, these rich guys. His name is Rapes Scrambled, and rapes is. What is rapes, right? What are rapes, right? Well, Pan's Labyrinth. Write this down, Pan's Labyrinth. There's a movie with David Bowie called The Labyrinth, okay? And he confuses people. Here we have, you know, it's a mental labyrinth. Lab is ball, backwards, labyrinth, okay? Here we have Pan with a candle on his head, right? A Luciferian light of sorts. You have people doing cartwheels similar to capoeira, and there's a reason for that, because capoeira was absolutely hijacked by people into the occult. And people who are shorter, who are related to these guys. Look at the way this guy looks. There's a lot of guys who are shorter. I hate to put them on blast, but it has to be said. Okay. There's that. We'll get to this. Oh, I have, you know, a little water. I just came out of the shower not too long ago. Anyway, I guess it's fine. Okay, over here we have Min. See, Min is associated with Pan. When I say these things in my videos, I don't make them up, right? Let's read this here. As a central deity of fertility and possibly orgiastic, right? Orgiastic rites, Min became identified by the Greeks with the god Pan. One feature of Min worship was the wild prickly lettuce Lactuca virosa and Lactuca Cirola, probably slaughtered that, but okay, of which is the domestic version Lactuca sativa, right? Sativa, marijuana sativa, okay? We'll get to that if we have time. Lettuce is also associated with Set, right? Min and Set, right? The Scorpion King is said to be associated with Min and Set, Okay, it goes back to ancient Egypt. It's a long story. He's actually a bad guy, and they superimpose him on the idea of the falcon taught martial arts and pretend that he's a hero. You know, it's a long story anyway. Which has aphrodisiac and opiate qualities, right? Aphrodite, aphrodisiac, right? They drug people, okay? And produce latex when cut, possibly identify with semen. He also had connections with Nubia. However, his main centers of worship remained at Koptos and Akhmim, Chemis, where we get the word chemistry. Chemis, where we get the word chemistry. And they say, oh, they have chemistry. He's my type, da 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 da. They don't know what they're talking about. They're in rape cult culture. Here we have, I wrote this here myself. Min, the patron of Chemis, is where we get the word chemistry, and people call it Kemet, right? Egypt is, and of course, Chemis was a floating island in some versions. Long story. They switch up the definitions of what it is. Is Pan's equivalent? Pan backwards is nap, panic, pain, pan, pun, panties, pancake, pandemonium, pandemic. Not a coincidence. And here, you think he's going to play patty cake with her after he's tricked her, pops out of the labyrinth, the natural labyrinth, if you will, to catch the archer, who might be associated with Artemis or Neith in Egypt, and he plans to rape her. Okay? So again, latex, semen, okay, Minuteman. How do you avoid being a Minuteman? How do you make sure that a woman is pleased? You run a train on her. That's what the Greeks would say, with their statues with not so impressive phallic sculptures, we'll say. Anyway, not that I care about the size of someone's dick. Now here we have a gender-neutral tattoo, the deity of Pan. See, it says custom. It's a custom tattoo, right? Variations of rape and orgies. See, the BBC, okay? How Egyptian god Bes gave the Christian devil, right? Okay, and then of course here, this is a depiction of Lucifer, the fallen angel. Here we have some more Lucifer, right? And these people, I've seen these people that look like this somewhere before. Here we have, you know, to quote, you know, someone else, you know. Anyway, here we have the queen, and look how much she is similar to Pan. Now, really quickly, I'm just going to go over this real fast. You see how I look in this picture, okay? They've edited it to make it so I look gayish, but you can tell, and Jewish, okay? And if you really look carefully, you look at this, they made it look more like this guy, for example, a form of Satan. Satan loves to superimpose himself on God, and you see I'm the Royal African Falcon taught martial arts. If you look here carefully, you'll see I cross out feminism and gold diggers, and the devil right there in the background, he's crossed out, okay? The New World Order's crossed out. And I used to have, used to be there where I crossed out something that they would make them mad. We'll leave it alone for now. It has to do with LGBT philosophy. Anyway, so people covertly edited this image for white, Jewish, and LGBT supremacy. I was way more handsome before, okay? You can look at the way I'm shaped, that my emphasis was on speed and intelligence and outmaneuvering and outsmarting people. You can tell that I face adversity by what's crossed out back there, atheists and so on and so forth, Satanism and feminists and so on and so forth, okay? And here the Pan-African flag, but because it's similar to the flag of Biafra, the Royal African Falcon Top Martial Arts Order. There it doesn't show up well, but it has the Zion Nazi thing where, you know, it's saying Israel is basically a bunch of Zion Nazis and so on and so forth. Okay. So I believe that is it for now. Thank you.